Hey there, my friend. This is Dave Sharp. Welcome to day one of this brand new boot camp. I am extremely excited, and I'm going to jump right into the content because you know what? We have we've been excited. We've warmed you up. If you don't know your why, a lot of times when you start a course, you will start off with this whole let's go through and let's find our why. And the truth of the matter is, if you don't know your why you're doing this, why you're motivated, why you signed up, then that's going to be some man or woman in the mirror time that I'm going to ask you to go do on your own. Because what Matt and I are going to be doing here over the next 30 days is diving deep into hardcore marketing techniques and strategies that are going to help you to take your business to the next level if you learn, you listen, and you implement. And so today we're going to start this week off, okay? This week is going to be how to create the almost perfect offer. And what I want to talk to you about right now is the idea and the thought of creating irresistible offers, because there are so marketing. There are decent, good enough marketers out there, and then there are marketers who understand and know how to create irresistible offers. And the first thing that I kind of want to talk about, and I'm going to be looking at some notes here because I've got a robust download for you. I'm actually not going to keep you here on this video too long because I've got a download that is going to take you about 10 to 15 minutes to read through. And once you read through this is an irresistible offer manifesto that's going to be accessible inside of this post for you to download, and then you can print it off, you can read it, you can keep it digital. But the inside of this irresistible offer manifesto, complete with worksheets that you're going to be able to access here on this day one, I'm going to have all of this and more that I'm explaining in video to you so you can read it and you can see it and you can really digest it. Okay, so we wanted to make sure, Matt and I, that we gave you a good combination of both video content and also actual worksheets and workbooks. And that's one of the things that you see me holding right now. Of course, this is I always take my worksheets and I like to have physical copies, and I'll get them printed and I'll staple them together. And by the end of this boot camp, you are going to have lots of that material to be able to print off or keep it digitally on your computer. But the first thing that we're going to talk about today, and this is as we move into how to create the almost perfect offer, which is what we're going to be focusing on this entire week, I want to talk to you about how offers are created, how they go from being so-so to irresistible. And the first thing that I have to tell you before we talk about all of the strategy and technique is that if your offer, the thing that you are asking somebody to buy, cannot stand alone by itself on a one-page document and sell to at least some people just on a one-page document, then no amount of hype or marketing or story selling or any of the techniques and strategies I'm going to give you are going to help it. So you have to, so what do I mean by that? If I go and I try to sell this iPhone for $14,000, nobody's going to buy it. So, but if I go and I try to sell this iPhone that I just bought, let's just say I paid $1,000 for it. I don't know, it's the newest one. It's got 3 cameras on it. If I go and I try to sell this right now out in the corner for $300, boom, it's going to go. So if I was to write that down, iPhone 11 Pro Max, not the Max, actually just the Pro, iPhone 11 Pro, $300 on a one-page document, that's going to sell fast, okay? Same thing with any course, same thing with any software. You see Builderall, the software here, $69 for all of these tools bulleted out, sells. Okay, that's an irresistible offer. So you want your offer standalone without any of the techniques, without any of the marketing to be good enough to sell. Now, when we sprinkle on some of the things that I'm going to talk about here over the next few minutes and that are also inside of this manifesto and the worksheet that accompanies it, Now all of a sudden you get to experience magic. Okay, and the first thing that we're going to focus on here, and you'll read this inside of the manifesto, is finding your one big idea. What oftentimes a lot of marketers try to do is they try to convince people of multiple things. And the truth of the matter is that it's hard enough to convince somebody of one thing, let alone multiple things. Okay. If you look at some of the great marketing pitches over the years, for example, I always go back to Steve Jobs with the iPhone. When they released the iPhone for the very first time, he presented that product for the very first time as if that day he was going to be releasing a brand new cell phone, a brand new internet pocket device, and a brand new music device. But the big idea was, what if we can combine all of those three things into one? That was the big idea. And the way that he went about that was brilliant, because he just very simply kept talking about, we're going to be coming out with a brand new cell phone, a brand new internet device, and a brand new music device today. And then again, the big idea was, what if we could put all of those into one device? Right? Do you see my point? He didn't get up there on stage and try to convince people of tons of different things, which he probably could have gone off into multiple different rabbit holes about each one of those features of the new product. But the big idea was, which you want your big idea of your offer to be something that people can grasp, they can put their head around, and they can believe it. Right? It's you're changing somebody's belief system that one device can solve right? In the case of the iPhone, that one device, okay, not two, one device can solve the problem of having these three things separated. One device, one thing in your pocket can do these three things. And then obviously it even did more than that, right? In the initial launch, it even did more than that. But that's not what he focused on. He made it simple. Can these three big features be combined into one? So what you're going to find inside of the Irresistible Offer Manifesto that I've provided for you here on the first day is a bit of me talking about that, okay? Along with multiple different examples from, for example, books that I've read, okay? Give you some examples from one of my friends and mentors, Frank Kern, who's been in the industry for a long time. But even more so, I give you an example from this book called The 16-Word Sales Letter, to where Alvaldo, okay, sorry to butcher and mispronounce his name there, A-list copywriter, highly recommend this book, goes in to talk about a formula for finding your big idea, and I'm going to pass that formula along to you. Part of this boot camp is going to be about how do we leverage Matt and I's marketing knowledge and connections, and how do we market our library, and even proprietary techniques that we've come up with over the years to hand them to you so you can just put them to work right away. So one thing that I'm going to teach you about inside of this manifesto when you download it and read it is how to come up with your big idea. One of the elements of the big idea is the new opportunity. That's how you frame your offer. If you do not frame your offer as something that's new and exciting and never been done or seen before, then studies have shown that people will dismiss it as, I've already seen that. That's nothing new to me. But if you position your offer, and this is one of the biggest places that I see marketers miss big time, is that they don't figure out a way to repackage their offer into a way that's new and exciting that people have never seen before. And the secret to longevity with your business, and the secret to you selling even the same thing for many years to come over and over, is to constantly reinvent your product as being new and exciting. Let me give you a quick example. I actually have one right here. Funny enough, I snuck some fast food in a Coke today. Okay, so don't attack me. Those of you who are going to be conscious of your health and mine. But Coke reinvented its product by doing something genius. On the side, they started putting people's names on the side of the can. Same old Coke, even same old colors, but brand new approach, which got people excited all over again about their product. They put people's names. This one happens to say Coach, right? So now all of a sudden people can take Cokes, give them to people, and give them to people with their names on them, and it was a big hit, and they're still using it to this day. That's a great example of how a company has reinvented itself and made its product new and exciting and never been seen and never been done before, but it's the same old product. The second piece to your finding your big idea when creating your offer is to tap into what their desire is. Okay, what does your prospect want to achieve? And so many people sell their product from the standpoint of what it's made out of, the features, the functions, like, oh, this phone has, a certain kind of glass on the screen, and the buttons are made of alloy titanium. Nobody cares about that. The only thing that I want is I want to be able to take stunningly beautiful pictures so I can post pictures on the internet of myself, okay, and feed my narcissistic ways. And I want to be able to check my email, and I want to be able to run my business from my cell phone quickly with high, fast download and upload speeds, and I want it to fit into my pocket, and I want to feel like I'm on the cutting edge because I've got the brand new iPhone. I want to feel like I'm important and successful, right? So these are all the things that Apple plays into when it's marketing its products. It's not talking about the what it's made out of, even the features and benefits. It's a marketing pitch that encompasses what its primary customer wants to feel and achieve with their product. What is the result that the person is going to get? So the second part of developing your big idea is honing in on that desire that your prospect has, your target customer has, and wants to achieve. And then the third element of finding your big idea is simply, what is this new mechanism? And that's when you actually present what your product is. With Coke, it was that brand new Coke bottle that's sitting in the freezer at your local convenience store. With the iPhone, it was this brand new iPhone 11. Do you see what I'm saying? With Builderall, as the chief marketing and sales officer of Builderall, it will be Builderall, new and improved, new features, new functions, new training, always coming out, reinventing ourselves with something new. Okay? So in this manifesto, I'm going to ask you to actually create with the accompanying worksheet. I'm going to ask you to jump right into the deep end and create your big idea. Now, maybe you're an affiliate for Builderall. Maybe you're an affiliate for some other company or product. Maybe you have a coaching consulting business. Maybe you have an events or some sort of an agency. Whatever it is, I've given you a formula to be able to develop and find that big idea, and I want you to do it, and I want you to then come back and post it inside of this group directly under this video so we can feed off of each other's, we can learn, we can give you guys feedback, and we can see what you come up with. The second thing that I want to talk about is the idea of story selling. I've inside of the manifesto, you're going to see an actual formula that was also given inside of this book to structure your copy. And copy is the words, the text that you use on your pages and inside of your funnels to be able to persuade and influence somebody to actually buy what it is that you're selling. And I've given you a formula that was taken out of this book. It's probably the simplest and smartest way to structure your copy that I've ever seen. So I've given that to you inside of the manifesto as well, giving you those cliff notes, broken it down simply. So you now have that sort of structure to structure your sales messages, and you're going to understand what are the questions that I need to answer to overcome to actually convert my product. So you're going to find that in the manifesto as well. But now I'm going to transition to the idea of story selling, because, my friend, the bottom line is that there is no better way, and history has proven it with religious leaders and various people who have been in power and who have had influence over millions of people, that the absolute best way to prove a point is to tell a story. And I try never to tell a story without proving a point, right? So, again, so many people are standing and buying and looking and searching high and low to figure out, how do I tell a more compelling, how do I develop a more compelling marketing message? And the answer is really simple. You weave in story with your message. And what I've done inside of the manifesto is I've broken down an actual formula that you can use, that I've used over the years, that is a 5-step process for you to tell your story or a product story. Now, I mentioned this in the manifesto, and I also want to point out to you right now that when I say story selling, I'm not talking about going out and airing your dirty laundry in the marketplace. That's not what story selling is all about. I've ran into so many marketers over the years who, when I start talking about telling story, they think, oh God, I got to tell my story. I need to go and basically lay out my whole childhood and life's history to the marketplace, and it'll sort of be a coming out party of me being authentic. And my friend, trust me, that's not what I'm talking about. That sounds like something that you should do with a coach or a therapist or a very trusted person, advisor, friend. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about using story to tell the story of your product, okay, and to overcome objections, right? It's much easier for me to tell the story of how Sally was sitting on the checkout page, nervous to buy my product, and she reached down inside of herself in that moment and realized that she could either X out of that page and go back to living a life of, monotonous clock watching and time card punching and not do anything and not make any change, or she could take that risk to buy that course and invest in her education and learn a new skill set and a new business model and potentially go and change her entire life. And over the course of the next 6 months, that's exactly what she did. She now travels the world. She's fired her boss. She works when she wants, with who she wants, how she wants, and lives life and does business on her terms. And if you're at all skeptical, or if you're at all thinking about, my gosh, is this going to work for me? I want to tell you that not only do I understand, not only does Sally understand, because she's one of my personal students, she's one of my friends, she's one of my business partners, right? Insert whatever there. But so has hundreds or thousands of other people who are in the same exact position as you are right now. And although we can't tell you, convince you, don't want to twist your arm to move forward, we can tell you that there's thousands of people who have turned the other way and gone back to their problems, struggles, and pains. And then there's a whole group of people who have moved forward and overcome those exact pains and struggles that you want to overcome right now and have experienced massive success. So the choice is yours as you sit on this page right now and you make the decision to click that button below and move forward. I just want to welcome you to our family, right? So now I'm going to step out of that role. Do you see how using that story of Sally, right, instead of sitting there addressing the customer saying, I know you may be skeptical, you may be scared, but move forward, trust me, move forward, right? It's the right thing to do for you and your family. Instead of doing that, which is what almost every marketer that you see out online is doing, who is struggling to make sales, I'm weaving in story of other people's experience or of my experience to relate to what the person is feeling in that moment. Okay? There's a technique that I like to use a lot with people, and it's when I want to say something to somebody. I want to say, hey, wake up, like with my children sometimes. Wake up, right? Instead of coming right at them and saying, you need to wake up, right? Nobody wants to hear that. That's really probably jarred you just hearing me saying it into the camera. But if I say to my child, hey, when I was young, I didn't know half of what I know now, and thank God, because life wouldn't have been as fun as it was in my childhood if I did know what I know now. But my dad, one time, he came to me and he said, son, look, I love you so much and I want what's best for you. But if you're going to get out of childhood alive, you need to wake up. right? So now all of a sudden, and I'm going to step out of that storytelling role, now all of a sudden I'm speaking to my child, but I'm not telling them what they need to do. I'm using my story while simultaneously looking at them and saying the same words to them, but I'm talking about myself, or I'm talking about somebody else. So it allows the person who's listening to be able to hear the advice or hear the experience or hear and relate to the pains and struggles and the courage that it's going to take to overcome or move forward, right? Buy your product, right? Through somebody else's story. Okay? That's why storytelling is so crucial. It's so important to your marketing efforts. So much more we can talk about, so much more we can get into, but I want you to dig into the manifesto that I wrote for you and dig into this story selling formula. The first part of that story selling formula is what happened. Okay, this is going to be the cause of the pain and the struggle. The second element is what it was like. Okay, what did it feel like? We want to tap into the emotion. The third element is what I did about it, or what the person who I'm telling the story did about it. Okay, maybe they bought a course, they started a business, they hired a coach. They bought the product that you're selling. Okay, what it's like now, the result and the resulting emotion. I also give examples of all of these and what to do right now. Right. So this is a call to action. So after I go through that, I use that formula to tell the story, either my story or somebody else's story, and connect it to my product, right? Then all of a sudden, I can give a call to action, and I can use a transition statement, which I give you examples of that in the manifesto as well. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to read that, okay? Because I go on to further talk about how the brain reacts to story as well, which is very different than it reacts to logic. It operates on logic for the most part all the time. Is this safe? Should I do this? Does this make financial sense? What's my wife going to think about me? All these things are running on logic, but we want to kick in and tap into that buyer emotion, okay? And we want to tickle both their logic and their emotion. Using story will allow you to do this, and using the elements that I've laid out for you on this day one assignment will allow you to do this. So here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to go and I want you to read that manifesto, and I want you to complete the assignment that I've given you alongside of the Irresistible Offer manifesto. Here's my final kind of warning to you. I know that you're going to say, I've never done anything like this before. I don't know where to start. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to try. I want you to just give it your best shot. All right? Because most likely, for many of you, you've never done anything like this before. So completing an assignment like this, you're going to say, gosh, I don't know where to start. And that is the exact place that I want you to start, where you've never been before. Because just like a muscle, it only gets bigger, right? And mine are not as big as they at one time were, right? But I promise I'm going to get them back here one day. I'm going to grow them. I'm going to keep working them out, just like I work out my story selling and my offer making muscle. If you don't work it out, it doesn't grow. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to drop those assignments back into the comment section of this day one video, and I want to see all of you guys' big idea statements, and I want to see your brief story, okay, your story selling templates of your product that you're selling. Okay, so whatever product that you're selling, and if you're not selling a product right now, then pick a product. I want you guys to be able to craft a compelling offer for any product that you can think of. I want you guys to have those marketing skills, those abilities to be able to identify any product and know exactly what to do to be able to craft a compelling offer. Okay. Then moving forward for the rest of the week, Matt is going to dig deep to kind of go back towards the beginning and say, okay, now that Dave threw you right into the deep end, we're going to go back and we're going to start digging into your customer avatar. What are their desires? What are their needs? And then here's what you're going to do. At the end of the week, you're going to come back to this same assignment that I gave you today, and you're going to see how much more you feel empowered to be able to write a great offer based on what you learned over the next week, right? And that is one of my favorite things to do, is to create something and then go learn, practice, and then 6 months later, or 30 days later, or whatever it is, come back and compare where I'm at now to where I was before and see just how much I've grown. My friend, welcome to this boot camp. I'm your head drill sergeant, Dave Sharp, and it's an honor to have you here. Download that manifesto right now. Get to reading it, reread it. It's really, really powerful. Complete those assignments, and I'll see you back in the comments section. Bye-bye.